Momoshiki's prophecy and Boruto's actual fate. This is a topic of discussion, a huge topic of discussion in fact, in the entire Boruto fandom as to what exactly is going on with the fate of Boruto, where it will land him, and what is in store for him for the future of the series and for the overall cast as a whole, but specifically keeping in mind what is going to happen with Boruto. And this sort of gets a very interesting answer, or rather a follow-up in Boruto manga chapter 67, and we need to talk about it. So hello and welcome to WhyZ, and today we're going to talk about the fate of Boruto in regards to what exactly Momoshiki had prophesied to Boruto as to what's exactly going to happen with his life. But keep in mind that this video will contain manga spoilers, so anime only fans have been warned. With that being said, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to our channel since I do weekly anime and manga related content along with a bunch of other stuff. So in order to discuss this entire predicament, we need to go back to the original Momoshiki fight. So what exactly happened there? Why did Momoshiki even give a prediction about Boruto's life and what it means for the future of the series? We need to go back at that particular moment. So essentially, after Momoshiki was killed by Boruto's own Rasengan, Momoshiki's spirit stayed intact in this separate sort of time frame. We have seen this happening again in the manga as well, but basically his spirit lingered on and he told Boruto something very interesting. He says that even though he is not able to foresee his very own fate, still he could see Boruto's fate pretty clearly. He's not saying that he's able to see entirely every single thing, as we see here in this chapter, that is manga chapter 67 as well. Basically, Momoshiki is saying that he could see a point in Boruto's fate or Boruto's future wherein something very terrible happens to him. And because of all of these things, Momoshiki warned Boruto that someday his blue eyes would take everything from him and that he's no longer an ordinary human after defeating a god. Therefore, he left his karma mark on Boruto's palm and left. Now, the last part, we have already seen that happening here in the actual story. It happened in basically manga chapter 67. Boruto, as of this chapter, is officially no longer a human. He has become 100% Otsutsuki. He has ceased to be a human being. 82% of Momoshiki's data or 82% of Momoshiki's DNA was already de-Otsutsukified, decompressed in Boruto's body, but now the remaining 18% has also been converted into Boruto's own DNA, so therefore he's a total 100% Otsutsuki now. So that last part of Momoshiki's prediction has been completed now, but the first part still remains. Momoshiki warned Boruto that his blue eyes would take everything from him. Everything being the key word here. Now, with the arrival of Boruto manga chapter 67, we obviously thought that it was something to do, or it was something in relation to Boruto's own death, because in chapter 66 Boruto literally died. Let's be real about that, Boruto actually died. Had it not been for Momoshiki's own intervention, Boruto would have died at this very moment in time. So you would obviously believe that this is something which Momoshiki was referring to, that this was the prediction, this was the prophecy for Boruto, that he was going to die. But Momoshiki clarified in fact that no, this is not what he was initially referring to in his original vision. Even though what he said originally back in that time is probably going to come up very soon. So that's a totally unrelated note. Boruto's death is not the bad and ominous thing which was about to happen to his life, which was about to happen to himself. So that begs the question, what exactly was Momoshiki referring to? What is this prophecy all about? Now, there can be multiple interpretations to all of these things. The original interpretation was obviously Boruto's own death, but now apparently it's not the case. Boruto's death was not big enough, it was not grand enough to be basically a tragedy for Boruto's life. So apparently there's something worse which needs to happen in order to complete this prophecy as a whole. Now, if we look at this entire prophecy, the blue eyes is a very important note, is a very interesting note. Now obviously in the anime we saw Boruto using his Jogan in this particular moment. It's not something which happens in the manga. The manga has in fact not even introduced the Jogan so far, so it could be basically a reference to the Jogan. I'm still holding on to the thought that the manga is going to introduce Jogan and it is going to have some very significant importance in the story, because let's be real about it, it has been basically clarified that whatever the anime does, it's sort of canonish. There's nothing filler about it and it sort of all goes into the anime canon. So I still hold on to the notion that Jogan is going to become canonized in the manga as well. But for now, let's just assume that the blue eyes are being referred to his own eyes, his regular eyes without the Jogan. So these blue eyes are going to see tragedy even at a bigger scale than his own death. That could only refer to one and only one thing, that is the destruction of every single thing that he loves. Boruto loves his parents, Boruto loves his sister, Boruto loves his village, he loves his friends. So a destruction of Konoha, and in a way the destruction of the entire world is looming upon it. That's my best guess. I do believe that the prophecy was referring to the destruction of everything which is near and dear to Boruto, including the destruction and death of his parents, the destruction of Konoha, the destruction of his friends, and the basic destruction of the entire world. This is also going to be encapsulated into the entire situation with the Ten Tails, and how now that he's an Otsutsuki, a 100% pure Otsutsuki, he's the perfect match to be fed to the Ten Tails. Prior to this, he was not a full Otsutsuki, he was not a pure Otsutsuki, so the strength or the quality of the god tree, the quality of the chakra fruit harvested from the god tree would have not been perfect. But right now, because he's 100% Otsutsuki, he's the best candidate, he's the best, you could say, food for this god tree. So this is a very serious predicament for all of them, and Code is not going to leave this situation any soon. So I can very well see a scenario wherein Code and Ada have plotted a scheme wherein Boruto has to sacrifice himself and basically feed himself to the god tree, because on the other hand there's going to be Sasuke, Naruto, Himawari and the others who are going to be at hostage and at a very serious predicament at the hands of Daemon, Ada and Code. But that's just one part. That's something which is very basic, and that is something which is very trivial at this moment. I could say that, okay, fine, what's more important to Boruto than his own life? It could be the life, or it could be the well-being of his parents, of his friends and his loved ones, including the village as well. But what if this prophecy is going way beyond that? What if this prophecy includes the Jogan and everything else, and it's pointing to something much bigger than just himself and even the scale of Earth? I'm referring here to the Otsutsuki god or the Otsutsuki king, because I believe that this entity is going to have a very huge importance in the future of the entire Boruto series. This has been my notion, this has been my theory for a very long time, that the Otsutsuki clan, the entire Otsutsuki clan, like the Herald for Galactus, where they go from planet to planet, they hop from planet to planet and just destroy the planet, harvest the chakra fruit. And in a similar manner, I could see a very significant resemblance between this Otsutsuki god, this Otsutsuki king being, to someone like Arishem. Recently in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we got to see this terrifying moment in the Eternals movie where this creature Arishem just appeared out of nowhere. This huge entity, this absolutely behemoth of an entity, just teleported and transported itself in front of the earth in a very scary manner. So I could see, because of how Boruto takes references from the Western comics as well, a similar moment happening here, wherein the Otsutsuki god or Otsutsuki king is very much disappointed with Momoshiki, or rather very much disappointed with any being who is even capable of killing an Otsutsuki. Because let's be real about it, the Otsutsukis are very egoistical creatures. So if someone like a human whom they consider below them tries to kill them, or is even in fact able to kill them, they're definitely going to keep a grudge upon him or her. So that's why I do feel like this Otsutsuki king, Otsutsuki god being is going to take a revenge upon Boruto, which is going to cost him every single thing, and basically the scale of all of these things is going to go beyond just the regular destruction of Earth. I can very well see a very similar moment happening in the actual Boruto manga as well, and maybe this is what Momoshiki was actually referring to, and that could also tie in very well to the entire Toneri plot point. Even though that was again happening only in the anime, the manga has not shown anything of that kind so far, but it could very well still be a huge possibility. So overall, I could say that this is currently my prediction or my theory or thought about Boruto's fate and the entire prophecy which Momoshiki gave to Boruto. Now additionally, along with all of these points, there might be another issue, another point which might not be raised right now, but I pretty much believe that it's something which is intrinsic to Momoshiki's prophecy and the overall downfall for Boruto's life and the future and fate of Boruto. Essentially, what I'm trying to say that now, since Boruto has officially become an Otsutsuki, he has ceased to be a human, he is technically going to have, or he's going to technically possess all the powers of an Otsutsuki, which includes sort of immortality. I mean, it's still a little bit convoluted as to what exactly remains for an Otsutsuki's lifespan, but typically what we know so far is that an Otsutsuki is otherwise immortal, and even if he or she is not technically immortal, but still they are going to definitely outlive human, or at least human lifespan. And that gives us a pretty good idea of Boruto's tragedy which is going to appear in the future of the series. Because if things do not change in the future of the series, if Boruto remains an Otsutsuki throughout, that means that in the end Boruto is going to outlive his parents, his kids, his potential future kids, his friends, his potential family, his love interest, and every single person whom he actually loves. So because of this incident, this Otsutsuki power-up is essentially going to be a curse for him, because he's going to outlive every single person whom he loves. This is kind of reminding me about the entire Brook situation in One Piece, and if you're aware of it, specifically the Yomi Yomi no Mi power-up, then you'd be understanding what I'm trying to say here. But basically, this Otsutsuki power-up, it initially might seem like a boon, but it is actually a curse. It's like a hidden curse for him, because effectively he's going to outlive every single person whom he loves, and he's going to see the destruction of the humankind as well. So what do you guys think about all of these things? Do you agree or disagree with these theories? Please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more. This is WhyZ. I'll see you all on the next one. In the meantime, join the channel membership for some very cool perks and features, and join the Discord server for more. See you all on the next one.